At 30 minutes after the hour, this is the news we are covering at this hour. The Boston Globe, in its morning editions, is running a piece that says that two of the alleged hijackers who left out of Boston had what is known in the airline business as a ramp pass, or can be known as a tarmac pass, that allows either vehicles or individuals access out to where the planes taxi, take off, arrive, park, catering, cleaning, maintenance, all of that. That would certainly help anyone hell-bent on doing any harm to an aircraft. The EPA has tested air from the plume at the World Trade Center, that kind of permanent cloud we showed you even tonight, the one in the graphic up in the upper left there. It contains, and this was a fear early on, it's why people are now being forced and told to wear masks. It contains elevated levels at the crash site of asbestos, but the plume itself contains little asbestos. We've had Con Ed main breaks and pipe breaks before in New York, and the asbestos levels have been just horrific, and that white dust evidently does contain asbestos, and of course can be fatal if inhaled in high doses over long periods of times into the lungs. And the financial markets, a story our colleagues over at CNBC have been covering so aggressively over this two-day period. The New York Stock Exchange may open as early as Friday, no later than Monday. They may decide to just go ahead and take the weekend. This is already the longest period of time on what were previously scheduled trading days that the market has been shut down. This sets a kind of sad American record. It is part infrastructure. Some of the circuitry is shot, gone, fried. It is partly because physically people can't get down to their offices. Remember, firms like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, for instance, is now missing 50 floors of office space. A lot of so-called back office operations were located down at the World Trade Center and that surrounding neighborhood. So we have still two active crash scene investigations, and now the investigation goes on and takes off across the country looking for these hijackers. With the very latest on the investigation, here is NBC News Justice Correspondent Pete Williams.
Federal agents respond immediately. More than 4,000 FBI special agents and 3,000 support staff already on the case, sweeping the nation for evidence from fragments at the scene of the attacks to any documentary proof of what the suspected terrorists were up to. Between 3 and 6 per plane, authorities now say.
The United States Attorney's Office's terrorism units and the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Forces are obtaining the passenger manifests, rental car receipts, telephone logs, videotape from parking garages, and pay telephone videotape records at all scenes for review and appropriate follow-up interviews.
Scrutiny of those passenger lists leads the FBI to this flight school in Florida, where officials say they believe at least 2 of the terrorists received pilot training during the past year. A man who worked at the flight school says he allowed both of them, who described themselves as Germans, to briefly live with him and his wife.
While they were here, I know that they had used this address initially, and I know that because I would get insurance renewals for them addressed to them at this address for that call.
In Boston, agents swarm area hotels where registration records match suspicious names from passenger lists of the hijacked planes, detaining at least 3 people for further questioning, holding them now on immigration charges. And in a hugely helpful break, the FBI impounds a car found at the airport after a witness says it was driven by 2 Arabic men. In it, authorities say they discover airplane technical documents. Federal agents also stop an Amtrak train in Rhode Island today, part of a frantic nationwide effort, the FBI says, to make certain no other conspirators remain at large where they could mount further attacks.
Our first effort is to identify any associates in the United States who might be related to the hijackers and to remove those associates, investigate, and arrest, given the evidence, those individuals and to remove any threat to the air system in the future.
Among other searches today, agents descend upon this mailbox rental office in New Jersey, where some of the suspected terrorists may have received their mail.
Pete Williams on the status of the investigation, our justice correspondent, who for now is heading up our team of journalistic investigators on this story.